Hi, welcome to another podcast, the Mind Management Mentors, as I like to call it, where we mentor people in coaching, especially the art of mind management, which is different, which is unique. So we've got one of our amazing coaches from Priority Mind Management, Casey Corbet. Introduce yourself. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. My name is Casey Corbett. I am from Montana, born and raised. I kind of got into mind management through NLP and CBT, and just took a couple of courses and kept rolling with it and kept wanting to learn. And Graham was my teacher initially that I got hooked up with, and he sent out an email promoting Priority Mind Management, wanting to get a group of coaches together to kind of get this thing rolling. And the more I talked to him and talked to you and got to know you guys and got to learn what you guys are all about, everything kind of synced up and worked awesome. So I just kind of kept rolling with you guys, and it's been awesome.
Oh, Casey, what a great way to start the podcast. That's absolutely fantastic. Not even going to ask you a question about that moving forward. But tell Casey, where are you from? Because obviously, clearly a different accent to us. And who do you help? Tell us.
So from Montana, from the U.S., from Montana. I've been here my whole life, up in the Northwest. So we get all sorts of weather, all sorts of seasons. I've been trying to help anybody that needs it, I guess. In my mind, Montana is really, really high in suicide rates. And it's something that's been in my family, unfortunately, for years. It's just something that keeps reoccurring. And so it's just kind of something that's always been here, but not a whole lot's being done about it. It's talked about, but there's not like a whole lot of answers. And I just felt like if there was some way I could get involved with it, somewhere I could help, something I could do, and not necessarily just the suicide, but just the mental health in general. I just know it's become, especially with COVID and everything, it just became such a, just on people's minds so much more than it used to be in the past, that I just put my name out there. I put out ads on Craigslist and the local newspapers and online, and just kind of put out there, I've been learning this NLP. I've been learning, solution-based counseling. It's helped me. It's helped kind of my favorite friends and family around me that I've, talked with. And so it just kind of became one of those things. I put it out there to see if anybody was interested. And I got a couple of people that came back and said I'd be interested. And we did free consultations, and, a couple of them kept on with me, and we did it long term. And I've had one success story that's just off the charts awesome. And then other ones that same thing, just success stories that they come back and things are improving, things got better, get to a certain point where they don't need you anymore. And that's the most rewarding thing to me is when you get to a point where they're like, I think I've done what I've come to do with you. And that's awesome. And so that's just kind of what I've been doing, is just getting myself out there. I feel like there's a lot of different approaches, or there should be a lot of different approaches to mental health, and not just what we've kind of all known from the beginning. I guess in my head, counseling or mental health coaches or counselors, psychiatrists, it was, you go into an office, lay down on a couch, right? It's just a certain way of doing the counseling, and that's just not it. It's just that doesn't have to be it for everyone. That could be it for some people, and that works for some people. But I just think there are a huge number of people that can kind of benefit from a different approach, a more personal approach, more one-on-one, more down to earth. I just think it relates to people, it gets through to people, and it's easier to incorporate in your own life if it's more relatable and kind of down to earth.
Absolutely fantastic. So tell me about, if it's okay, tell us about one of those success stories, because you talked about that. There has to be a different approach. You're absolutely right. Instead of going sitting on a couch and talking about things, giving people tools and strategies, which is what mind management does for the next time this pops up and those kind of things. It's phenomenal. We love mind management. We absolutely do. I'm a massive component of it. I absolutely adore what we do as mind management coaches, which is why we created Priority Mind Management, was to give people the tools to be able to coach people, not just with mental health, but actually mindset as well, and emotional health. And that's the power of mind management. It's like three tiers. It really does encompass and really help and support. So one of those success stories, you don't have to say names, but talk us through the process of how now they're living their best life.
So I had a gentleman who came to me. Again, I live in Montana, so I have a lot of there's a lot of, I guess, you know, expectations to be the tough, manly cowboy, type of guy, manly man around
Yellowstone,
here.
right?
Yes, it is exactly. Yes, yes, it's.
Yellowstone.
But unfortunately, that's not the life for all of us, and that's not the. And I had a gentleman come to me. He was pretty rough around the edges. He was pretty not real open, not real, didn't real come out, and you kind of had to dig around and get the information from him. But he's the one that seeked out me. He said that he was really dealing with anger issues, dealt with them his whole life, felt like it cost him his marriage, felt like it cost him his relationship with his two daughters. They had him and his wife had since split. She moved to a different state, took the daughters with him or with her. And so he really wanted to, and he feels the anger is what caused the relationship, the strain in the relationship. So he really wanted to find a solution to that. And he wanted to rebuild the relationships with his daughter. He wanted to build more relationships at work. He felt like at work he didn't have, camaraderie a lot. It was just kind of go to work, do your job, go home. There was no coworker, relationships. And so it just in general, he just felt like, he needed to break through that barrier of being a little bit more open with people. And so we just kind of went through slowly of what, what got him to this stage, stuff that happened in his past, stuff that happened between him and his wife in relationships that maybe made him react a certain way, or that he reacted a certain way because he felt like he didn't have any other choices, or used as like a defense mechanism. And so a lot of his anger just came from that, was just kind of not wanting to be open to people, not kind of using it as anger as kind of a defense mechanism of not, never having to admit fault, never having to admit you're wrong, never having to admit, stuff like that. And just the more we talk, it's just a lot of people just don't see other options and things. They see situations and they don't realize, hey, I have another option. I don't have to do this. I don't have to. So it was a lot of just going through and, what would happen if you reacted this way, or what would happen if you did this instead of going to work and just going along your day. What if you just said hi to somebody one day, right? Just that. What if you just went and asked somebody, hey, how are you doing one day? And if they give you an answer, follow up on it. You know what I mean? Come the next day and say, hey, how's that? You said that you were going to your daughter's recital last night. How was that? I said, that will go a long way, showing that person that you're interested in them and you're not just bullshitting them, and you're actually want a relationship. I said, it's little things and it's super simple. And he just started doing that. And all of a sudden now he's coming back and he's got, people at work that he's hanging out with, or, he's able to relay stuff to me about, this coworker had this going on. And I was able to actually take stuff that he and I worked with, and he was able to teach that to his coworker and help him with something emotional that he was going on. So he just really took to the teachings that we were doing in mind management and what it does. And just, it's for me and for him and for a lot of the other people, I feel like it's almost a sense of relief, because you feel stuck and you feel like you only have certain options. And I don't know how else to react to certain things except for anger, or except for sadness, or whatever it's. But as soon as somebody points out, there are other options, or as soon as you even just try another option, all of a sudden it just kind of opens up everything. And you just kind of go, oh, I don't have to do this every time. I don't have to. So, and back to him, his daughters, the relationship, one of them actually ended up moving back to Montana to be with them and stay with them. I mean, it worked so well, or not worked so well, but he applied it so well that him and his daughter just had a whole different relationship. They started talking and having conversations. He started asking her stuff about her personal life, and then following up on it, not just going through the motions with her. He was actually invested in her life. And I think that was something that he hadn't done before and didn't realize that was important to her. So it was just little things here and there. There was nothing. I with everybody I work with, I feel like it's not this big secret or this big, revelation that it takes. It's so simple. It's the little things and this little options that they don't realize that are there. But as soon as it's pointed out and as soon as they implement them in their life, it just makes a change instantly. And people come back after, one session, a week later, they come back and it's a totally different person or a totally different conversation, or they've had a totally different week of work or whatever it is. So it's, that gentleman in my mind is like top of the list as far as the person that showed up and the person that finally one day said, I don't think we need to do this anymore. I kind of am where I feel like I need to be. And it was awesome. His daughter's moved in with him. He's got friends at work. He started working with the local Special Olympics. I mean, he got involved in community. It was a totally different person by the end of it. And it was so awesome to see. And I feel like there's a million of him just in the valley here where I live, or the state where I live, and a billion people around the world that are just like him.
Perfect. You could not have, honestly, Casey. That was just absolutely fantastic. And what an amazing outcome.
Yeah, it was.
The results are quite quick, right?
It was, yeah. There was probably a month and a half where we met and we didn't need to. I mean, it was just kind of one of those things. We just kept meeting, anything going on? No, not really. And we'd kind of almost catch up like friends instead of counselor. And, it was, it was quick. It was, as soon as people realize the options are out there and that you don't have to rely on the same old trick that you've been doing to get through situations.
Yeah.
It's just a breakthrough. It's like you said, it happens very quick. And the quicker people implement it, the quicker your mind goes, oh my gosh, I don't have to do this anymore. I now have a new option. It's life-changing.
Do you know what, Casey? When you've got the results, and we've showed you how to get the results with the training and things like that, and when it's really strange because when I'm talking to people, so I actually just signed a new client, and he's an amazing person. And that person had been listening to me saying, I can make changes in 45 minutes. It doesn't matter whether it's trauma, unresolved trauma, whatever people have gone through, I can generally get a result in 45 minutes. And they'd been listening to me say that for a couple of months going, bullshit.
Right.
That 45 minutes, bullshit. Cuddy, bullshit. So he signed up as a client.
Oh.
And in the second session, he was like, you did it in 45 minutes. I know. He went, I've been in therapy for years. I've done counseling, and I walk away pissed off, and I walk away, this is bollocks. And again, I'm not pulling down other practices in any way, and I'm not, because everything has got a reason. Everything's got a reason. And sometimes people will come to a mind management coach and probably not get the results that they want either. So that's how it works. It's a lot of the times it's when you're ready to make that change. And that's sometimes the golden pot is when they come to us like, right, what's the other option? And that's it. It can be so quick. And especially when people have been saying, oh, I've been struggling with this for years. How is it you've sorted it out in 45 minutes? I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
I said, just the decisions we make in life don't suit as well. And once we can see and look from a different angle about what we thought was the problem is not the problem, and the stories that we create, it absolutely just blows people's minds. And that's why I love mind management, because it's not about having you in therapy for like thousands of sessions. And I have some repeat clients that say, do you know what, I've resolved that. Now I want to do something else, because we can work on mindset after we've resolved, with trauma and things like that. So that's the power of mind management. It's like, no, I really want to keep on top of this. This is to move forward.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. It's addicting almost in a way. It's once you get a taste of having those other options and being like, oh, I changed this. What else can I change? What else can I? It's a good feeling, and you want more of it. You want to continue to do it and want more of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Honestly, Casey, you couldn't have said it any better. So tell us all our listeners, because that was so when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. How is Casey now being a mind management coach at a college in Montana?
So I'll start teaching here in January. So we'll start, or I'm starting February. We'll start enrollment in January. I've kind of just taken, like I said, I same thing, not just for clients, but for me. Once I started learning this stuff, I wanted to keep learning it and keep learning more and get more. So, I've kind of just taken the NLP, mind management, cognitive based therapy, solution based therapy, all these different, even sports psychology that I've taken, and just kind of taken them all and put them into a course. And kind of, I guess what I did was there were certain things that I would learn throughout the way that would really stick. That would, we'd be in a class, or I'd be taking a course or whatever, and you'd say something, somebody would say something that would just kind of stick. There, there are certain things like anchors, like mental anchors. That thing, like I remember when I first took that class and listened to it, that really stuck in my brain, and I use it all the time now. I talk about anchors all the time, but certain things like that. Cognitive bias in general is just something that I talk about every day. Every day something comes up where I'm like, that's because of your cognitive bias, because you've been, you've thought about that your whole life. And so just there are certain things that really stuck in my brain as I took these different courses. And basically what I've done is taken those things that stuck out to me the most and really made me dive deeper and made each of those a class. And so it's going to be a 6-week course. I've taken 6 things like cognitive bias, and made it into a class where we're just going to break down the different types of cognitive biases, how we use them in life, when they pop up in life, what are different options. I guess for me, just having the awareness of a cognitive bias or what it is or how I use it was enough for me to change it. As soon as it come out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, shit, I think that because I've thought that since I was 8, not because it's the truth, not because it benefits me, but just because it's been the convenient truth or whatever for me forever. So so basically I drew up this course. It was a 6-week course, 2 hours once a week. I sent it into the local community college, as a non-credited course, and they were interested in it, brought me in. We did an interview. They're going to put it in the curriculum starting this spring, and start in February. We'll start doing classes once a week, and I really hope to get people in there because I talk to people every day that could use it. It's just, and I don't think it means that you have an issue. I don't think it means you have a disorder or anything. I think all that kind of stuff is way overused. I just think everybody has, yeah, I know. I know I'm not
It's the
supposed to say
labels.
that.
Remember Mary Denise said labels are for cows.
It is exactly right. It is the labeling, I have to, everything has to have a title. Every emotion has to have a big title, anxiety. It's got to be depression. It's got to be and I'm not saying people don't have it. I'm just saying it's overused, in my opinion. I just think as soon as you put a label on it, it's hard to get rid of it. If it's just an emotion, I can get rid of it. But as soon as you give it a name and a label, it's hard to get rid of. So and that's something I see around here a lot. So I'm really hoping I can get more of a group therapy session or group, setting, get this message out to more people than just one at a time. And hopefully I want those people to then turn around and do what I did and go to their friends and family and say, hey, I learned about this thing anchoring, or hey, I learned about this cognitive bias thing. And I'm really hoping people will take to it, and just it'll kind of trickle down and it'll just kind of spread throughout people. And I live in a country where it can very much be used, and I live in a section of the country where we are very, very polarized, very divided, very dig your heels in and don't budge. And I wish we weren't. And so if I can be just a small part of getting away from that mindset, I'm more happy to do that because it's frustrating to live that way. It's frustrating for me, I was that way for a long time, and it's frustrating to live that way. And it's frustrating to live around others that live that way, because it's just a lot of closed doors, a lot of, conversations, and that just don't happen because, the person's closed off to before you even get into it. And so I'm just hoping that this class can bring more people in. And the same thing that happened with me, there'll be some things that just stick to you, stay in your brain, and you kind of implement into your life. And then pass it on to your kids, pass it on to your wife, pass it on to a coworker. I mean, these things are simple. They're not, it's like, again, it's people think mental health has to be a psychology degree and 8 years of this and that or whatever it is, and it just doesn't have to be. It's simple. Everybody can understand it, everybody can implement it, and I really hope that's what people get out of this course.
I love that mentality of simpleness, because I think it is overcomplicated, and I'm not. If anyone listens to this and say you can't say that, could you? But I'm like, I know that there's people walking around with a label of complex trauma, CPTSD, with severe depression, into overthinking, underthinking, analysis syndrome, right? I've just made up a label. That label
Right,
doesn't exist. But if you're walking around that, and people don't understand the power of identity, and they don't understand the power of I have. And I'm on TikTok talking about the power of language. I have becomes part of your makeup. It becomes, you might as well wear a t-shirt, say, and people, because I didn't understand that until I got into NLP, which is, and again, we took the best from NLP, life coaching, and cognitive behavioral therapy, and rational emotional therapy, and that's what mind management is. And people don't understand I have. 5 times you've said that, that's it. You've got a belief system that literally will haunt you in your life, until someone comes along, such as yourself, Casey, or such as ourselves, and we trigger people. Well, no, actually, I do have I'm like, no, you don't have anxiety. What do you mean, no, you don't have anxiety? I'm like, no, you've got a belief that's creating a fear that's just stopping you. It's making you feel shit.
Yep.
So I've even started, like, a lot of the time, my clients, I'm like, pick a fear. Is it fear of not being good enough, fear of not being worthy, fear of not being lovable, or fear of being broken? Pick a fear and pick one you think you have. Oh, well, I'm broken. All right. So would you rather be broken, which is not real, a belief that I'm broken, or would you rather have complex PTSD, overthinking, underthink? Oh my God, I'd rather have a fear of not being good enough or but broken, because we can work on that. Yes, we can. We can work on that in 45 minutes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Oh my God, why has nobody explained that to me? And I don't know why. It's one of those strange things, but I think you're only ready to listen to things. And it's an old Buddha saying that you're only ready to listen to Buddha, because Buddha's been talking for years, but it's only until that person's receptive and ready to hear it and want to make that change that's when we hear the message. So that's a powerful thing. And look, well done for you getting into colleges to teach mind management, because that's amazing, especially the cognitive bias. I love that. There's a confirmation bias as well. And I know you'll be well versed in the confirmation bias, but where we like to prove our negativity correct.
Yep. That's
we actually like to, no, I'm right. I don't want to be wrong, so I'm right.
Yeah. Your brain is stubborn. It wants to be. It does not want to prove itself wrong.
And no, it doesn't, because that's exactly. I know.
Wrong. Yeah. It'll delete. It'll distort. It'll fuzzy things out in your memory, because those don't jive with your current belief. So your brain wants to prove itself right, and at all costs, and it'll change information. It'll distort, delete, all that. And I truly believe that is one of the main things. Again, like the things that stuck out in my brain when we were going through, that one really stuck with me, is the fact that if I tell myself I have something, it's really hard to convince my brain otherwise. If I tell my brain, even stuff like you hear people like, I have the worst luck, bad things happen to me, I have the worst luck. Your brain will go along your day looking for things
to prove
that are bad luck, to prove itself right, and it will ignore all the things that prove it wrong, that's good luck, or any good things that happen. So now you've gone throughout your day, and at the end of the day you go, see, this happened, and that proves that I have bad luck. But you've also ignored the 5 things, the nice thing that the clerk said to you, the thing that the coworker did for you, the thing that your wife picked up for you, or whatever. You've ignored those things that prove that you have good luck, or that you have good things do happen. Brain will just ignore that. It'll focus on the 3 negative things, because you've told it, I have bad luck, bad things happen to me. So it's focused on it. And I again, kind of like cognitive bias, kind of like anchors, that was one that really stuck in my brain. Like, what you tell your brain is, your brain's going to go out of its way to prove itself right.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And so when it comes to because it's baseball, that you're a baseball coach.
Yeah.
How do you use mind? Do you use mind management for the? It's a little league team that you coach, right?
It's high school, so it's like freshmen. Yeah.
Yeah.
like ninth
So
grade. I
just
guess
if
you
I'm
guys are ninth
English,
grade.
what's the age range for freshmen? What's freshman
Yeah,
age?
sorry. So it's like pretty much 14, 15, 16. Like
Okay,
14 on the very low end, and then maybe
okay,
a couple 16-year-olds, but mainly, yeah.
perfect. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And do you use mind management just in conversations with your teams? Do you key decisions with them when you're having chats and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's stuff almost like what we were just talking about. If you tell yourself, you're not good at something, I all the time, like number one rule on my team is you can't you can't say can't. You're not allowed to say can't. If you tell yourself, I can't, I really can't, get down on a ground ball, I just can't, then you're not going to, because again, your body, your brain's going to say, he just told me I can't do this, so I'm not going to do it because I don't want to prove myself wrong. So I am a very big component of not using the word can't on the baseball field or just in sports general. Um, Positive speak is huge. My players probably get sick of me saying it, but I'm going to continue to say it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what you tell yourself, and there are certain ways to say. There are different ways to say the same thing, I guess, is the way I try to tell them. So I know it's a baseball thing, but like if you're trying to say keep your hands up, you can tell yourself don't drop your hands, don't drop your hands, or you can tell yourself to keep your hands up. If I tell myself don't drop my hands, I'm putting that negative action into my brain, the thing I don't want to do, which is dropping my hands. So if I'm saying don't drop your hands and I'm saying it over and over, my brain's being told drop your hands. Instead, I want the positive part of it. What's the opposite is to keep my hands up. So tell yourself, keep my hands up, keep my hands up. And I know I'm getting into baseball stuff now, but
No,
but
but I
you know what I mean.
remember,
Yeah.
I remember there was a scientific thing done about somebody literally don't speak, just internally say, don't drop your hands, or something on the similar thing, don't drop your hands, don't drop your hands. Somebody would come along and the hand would just drop away. But if
Right.
internally you were just saying, keep your hands up, keep your hands up, there was more resistance. There was more resistance. Not even saying anything, just internally,
Yep.
just internally. And I love it. That's,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think
Exactly. Yeah.
anyone
And
that
they did a
gets
study, I
into
think
it, yeah, yeah,
they did a basketball study too, where they took a group of people and they shot like 100 free throws or something like that, and then they took the same group and had them practice for a week, and then they took half the group and had them just think about shooting free throws for a week. So the one group practiced physically, the other group didn't shoot a basketball. All they did was think about shooting a basketball for a week. And the group that thought about it and didn't practice actually improved after a week more than the group that physically practiced. So just thinking about their mechanics, just thinking about the ball going on the hoop, just envisioning it actually benefited them more than going out there and physically doing it, which blew my mind as a baseball coach. That blows me away that even, and they didn't improve by a lot more. They improved by like a couple of shots, but the fact that they were even able to stay, on plane with them is amazing. I mean, shows how much the mind plays in life, but in sports and everything.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love it. Fantastic. Perfect. Casey, you took to mind management so quickly when you were doing the training. We absolutely loved you on when you did the training with Graham and I. It was just a great thing to see. And we're so grateful to have you at Priority Mind Management. We know that people in Colorado and who you get your reach out to, especially going into the colleges and things like that, are going to be well looked after. And how we simplify things in people's lives is just it's such an amazing thing. And Casey, I want to say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much to what you
Yeah.
do for yourself, for your family, and for Priority Mind Management, mate. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I same with you, man. I so much appreciate the stuff you guys have taught us, the resources, the continued education. Like I said, there's always something. There's just always something that sticks in my brain when I have your meetings with you guys or classes and the teaching. So I love it. I'm all in, and I can't wait to pass it on. I can't wait to learn more, and yeah, I love talking about it.
Perfect. I love that. Well, look, Casey, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say on this fabulous podcast?
No, I thank people for listening and watching or whatever, wherever you are. And I hope it a little bit stuck in your brain. I hope there was something we said that stuck in your brain that said, hey, I want to look into this a little bit more, because I
Perfect.
promise you're not going to regret it. It's just, I haven't met a person that has looked into this or delved into this even just a little bit that hasn't gotten something out of it and gone on to help and improve their life in some way.
Nice one, Casey. Fantastic. Thank you very much for listening to another podcast for us. I always like to finish off with, if it's in the mind, it can be managed. Yes, it can. It absolutely can, Casey. We love it. As always, big love from Cuddy. This is another one of our podcasts from the Mind Management Mentors. And Casey, you are an absolute mentor of mind management. Thank you very, very much. Big love. Cuddy. And see you later. Absolutely fantastic. Much appreciated. Hi, well.